means that's going to have to either undo the square by square rooting it, or undo a square by,
So then that means it's fine.
yeah, they're not that complicated. So here's your first one. I've got W equals K, capital FR, all over V squared. Of course, we've got to solve for V squared, which is the one that has the squared exponent. So, what would be your first move? I like that idea. Let's multiply by V squared on both sides. Is that what you said?
Yeah, V squared make more sense.
Yes. Multiply by the whole thing. So then I get V squared W equals KFR. Next move. Divide by W. So then we get V squared equals KFR over W. Square root, both sides. Now the only tricky part is we're going to have to, one, remember our plus and minus. And we're going to have to rationalize that. So let's quickly do a quick rationalization up here in this step. What am I going to multiply top and bottom by? Good, so the square root of W top and bottom. So in my numerator, we're going to get the square root of K, F, R, W, all over what's going to be in the denominator, just one plain old W. There's your final answer. Okay, so remember, if you take the square root of something by undoing the square, don't forget that plus and minus. Whether that plus and minus is up here or it's in front, either would work. Okay, questions with that? No? Okay, let's do another one. Now instead of an exponent of 2, we have a square root in our formula. We need to solve for A. So before I can do anything, I need to undo the square root by doing what? Squaring. So if I square both sides, we then get D squared equals 4A over pi.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't ask me what it's for, though. What would you do next? Multiply by pi. So then we get pi d squared is equal to 4a. Divide by 4. So then we get pi d squared over 4 equals a. Done. Those aren't complicated, are they?
Just move the ground stuff.
Let's have you try one on your own. How complicated are you going to get them? That's not very complicated. Try this one out. See if you can do it. Let's go with F equals K over the square root of D. Solve for D. Now be careful, before you can undo the square root by squaring, you have to get the square root all by itself. I would take it to each one individually, Jenna. I would take it there.
You decide to rationalize it first.
You rationalize it first?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Just be extra work for you.
There you go.
Did it get there?
Don't wait.
Because if you rationalize it, that would be k square root d over d, right? So then fd equals k square root d. And then if I divide out the square root of d, then I get fd over the square root of d equals k. Then if I divide by f,
Then it'll make it d squared divided by d.
so then I get k over f is equal to d divided by the square root of d. And then if we did what? If I squared both sides, I would get k squared f squared equals d squared over d, which d squared over d would go to d.
It did work.
So it would get you there. A lot of extra more work.
This one just took 3 steps. 6. Like,
All right, what if you had something like this?
and you don't do it.
So it's not a formula anymore, it's a literal equation. So instead of all numbers, we've got variables in place of our a, b, and c in the quadratic equation. So we have s equals 2t squared plus kt. Here's my quadratic term. Is it positive? Yeah. Yep, so let's move everything to the right side, which means we're going to subtract the s over. So we get 0 equals 2t squared plus kt minus s. Now, because there's no numbers, I'm not going to be able to factor that. I could try completing the square with variables. That would look a little ugly. Let's use the quadratic formula. What would be your a in this equation? 2. What would be your b? And your c would be negative s. So, t is equal to, negative of my b would be negative k, plus or minus k squared, minus 4 times my a, which is 2, times my c, which is negative s, all over 2 times my a, which is 4. So the only thing we can really do is simplify what's underneath the radical sign. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times a negative s would be a plus 8s. So we get t is equal to negative k plus or minus k squared plus 8s all over 4. And that's as far as we really can go. Okay, so that's probably like the craziest one you're going to see.
That'll be the answer?
Yep. Solved it for t. Done. Did it. All right. So for your homework, the first group of them, 7 through 21, are going to be similar to what we just did up here. Okay. All right, are we ready for some word problems? Do you remember the Pythagorean theorem? Yeah, that's easy, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so the first type of problem you're going to have to do has to do with the Pythagorean theorem. We got 2 cars left an intersection at the same time. One car headed due north. So there's my car. The other car went due west. Yeah, it's good.
And then it becomes unsolvable because
Sometime later, they're exactly 100 miles apart. The car headed north had gone 20 miles further than, or farther than the car headed west. How far had each car traveled? So what's going to be an expression for the distance for the north car? Yeah, it's going to be x plus 20, right, because they went 20 miles further. So this is going to be an x plus a 20. The car heading west would just be x. We've got ourselves a right triangle. What would be your C? 100, and it doesn't matter which number on your legs you make your A and your B. So let's set up an equation using the Pythagorean theorem. So x squared, that's easy to do, x squared plus x plus 20 squared, now that's going to get a little funky because we're going to have to multiply that out, equals 100 squared. X plus 20 squared, what's it going to multiply to? Yes, so if you think about it, times x plus 20. So x squared, so we get an x squared plus an x squared plus 20x. 20x is 40x. 20 times 20 is 400. 100 squared is 10,000. 4 zeros. Okay, let's turn that into standard form. How many x squareds do you have? 2. So 2x squared plus 40x. Subtract the 10,000 from the 400, which would leave you with, so 9,000, it's a negative, right? Negative 9,600 equals 0. So we make our numbers smaller. Divide everything by 2. X squared, what is it? 4,800 equals 0.
Yeah.
Okay, complete the square, quadratic formula. What do you want to go with? Quadratic formula. Okay. So let's erase my lovely diagram. X equals negative of my B, so negative 20, plus or minus 20 squared is 400, minus 4. A is 1 times my C, negative 4,800, all over 2 times my A is 2. 400 minus 4 times 1 times negative 4,800 is 19,600. Square root that answer is 140. So we get x is equal to negative 20 plus or minus 140 all over 2. So negative 20 minus 140, that's just negative 160. Half of 160 is 80, so negative 80, which that's not going to be our answer. Negative 20 plus 140 is 120, divided by 2 is 60. I feel like this is the same numbers that we had in that homework problem. So which solution are we going to go with? 60. So the question is asking how far had each car traveled. So the car heading west traveled how far? 60 miles. The car traveling north went 80 miles. Okay. So you're going to see some problems. You got 31, 35, 37, it looks like. 31 actually has the diagram there for you, so that's nice. That's Pythagorean theorem. 35, bless you. You have to make your own diagram, is again going to be a Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so we're good with that?
So they're all Pythagorean theorems?
Nope, they're not all Pythagorean theorem ones. There's just 2. Oh, hold on. We got some more to do. Relax. All right. Does everybody know what a reflecting pool is?
Yeah.
Reflecting pool. So like, you know, not a pool you swim in because it's shallow.
Like in DC.
Yeah, they have the reflecting pool in DC.
All the pennies are in.
And then they have signs that say don't swim in the reflecting pool. All right, so we've got a reflecting pool. That is rectangular. So here's your rectangle. The rectangle is 20 feet wide, 30 feet long. All right, so then we got the park gardener wants to plant a strip of grass of uniform width around the edge of the pool. So everybody envisioning what's happening here. We got grass of equal width. So here's my grass around the pool. Do we know what the width is going to be? No, we need to figure out how wide the strip will be. So if I don't know the width of it, what should I make it? X. So now, this length right here should be the same length as that, right? If it's uniform. So I have X length here, X length here. Same thing in all of my other corners. I have X length here, X length here. On the other corner, I have X length. Top corner, I have X length, X length. We have enough grass seed to plant 336 feet squared, which is an area. So what area am I really looking for? Am I looking for the area of the whole thing or the area of just the grass? Just the grass, right? So how do I find the area of just this boundary?
You find that area of the rectangle in the middle and then
Subtract it from the area of
the whole thing.
the whole rectangle, right? Did everybody get that? So the area of the reflecting pool is easy to find. What's that going to be?
30 times 20.
So it would be 30 times 20, which is 600 feet squared, which I'm going to subtract that. Now I have to figure out the dimensions of the big rectangle. What would be the width of the big rectangle? Well, we know from here to here is what? 20. From here to here is x. From here to here is x. So the whole thing would be what?
20 plus 2x.
20 plus 2x. Good. So this would be 20 plus 2x for the whole width. What would be the length?
30 plus 2x.
Yeah, my length would be 30 plus 2x, right? Because we have to add that uniform width. So the area of the big rectangle, which I happen to have mine in green here, is going to be 20 plus 2x times 30 plus 2x. So the area of the large rectangle minus the area of the small rectangle, which is the reflecting pool, needs to equal 336. So let's do some multiplication here. What do we got? 20 times 30 is 600. 20 times 2x is 40x plus 60x would be 100x. 2x times 2x would get us 4x squared minus 600. What happens to your 600s? They cancel. So now I get 4x squared plus 100x, moving that 336 over, makes it become a minus. All right, I'm going to erase my diagram. Can I make my numbers smaller? Yeah, can I divide everything by 4? X squared plus 25x. 4 goes into 336. What is it? 84. Thanks. So it'd be minus 84 equals 0. Quadratic formula. X equals negative 25. Plus or minus 25 squared is 625. Minus 4 times your A times your C all over 2 times your A. 625 minus 4 times 1 times negative 84. Square root that gets us 31. So we get negative 25 plus or minus 31 over 2. It's not going to be the subtract, bless you. So we get negative 25 minus 31 divided by 2. Gives us negative 28. Negative 25 plus 31 divided by 2 gets us 3. So which one's going to be the right answer? 3. So how wide is the strip? 3 feet. Good. All right. We'll stop there because we don't have any